a divine planetary parade is happening in January 2025 in which 6 planets will align together, becoming visible for weeks. 4 of the planets Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn will be visible from the naked eye, while you'll need a telescope to watch the remaining planets. This planetary parade is going to be the best one yet. It will be visible for a long time, making it a great opportunity to witness this celestial event. The planets will be perfectly aligned, giving you a stunning view for weeks, until the end of February. For a few days, all 7 of our solar system will be visible at once. The best time to see the planetary parade will be from January 21st, 2025 to February 21st, 2025. The week of January 29th, during the new moon, will be the perfect opportunity to catch the best views. This is the time where the world's largest human gathering, Maha Kumbh is happening. Pilgrims flock from all over the world to participate in this millennia-old tradition, hoping to cleanse their sins and break free from the cycle of reincarnation and rebirth. Hindus believe that a dip in the sacred waters brings salvation and liberation.
The cycles of the moon and the sun has a profound impact in the way we are. Celebrating this and finding ways to go beyond this is what Kumbh is. This is a profound understanding of the 12.25-year cycles of the sun. Who we are, the way we are, why we got shaped like this, is fundamentally because of the various forces that function upon us. Solar system being the main thing. In a way, the solar system is functioning like a potter's wheel. It functions like the potter's wheel and while you the pot, somebody wants to empty their pot. If only, if, for example, the planet decides to rotate a little faster than the way it is right now, all organisms on this planet will have to go through a dramatic change in the way they are. Probably the presently existing organisms, including us, would not survive a 2-time speed of rotation. We are like this because we are a product of this system. Understanding the power of these cycles upon the human system, they identified places and situations which would be of maximum benefit to human well-being. So particularly they chose places where there is confluence of rivers, because where 2 rivers meet, there is a non-stop force. And our bodies of the 5 elements dominated by water. Over 72% of our body is water. So if you are in a place where there are churning waters at certain times, considering the latitude and at that time of the year or at that time of these 12-year cycles, the relationship between the planet and the sun, it creates a powerful situation where one can transform themselves. A lot of studies have been made on the previous Kumbh and they found phenomenal physiological changes in people who stayed there for over 40 days and every day they were in that water. A Kumbh Mela is supposed to be for 48 days. That is, people should stay there for 48 days every day in the river along with that sadhana. This is part of the Bhuta Shuddhi tradition, where the fundamental process is to cleanse the elements in the system, and water being a major part of it. Water is considered very important for health, well-being, prosperity, whatever we are seeking in our lives. So this 48 days has particular specific sadhanas where people stayed there and went through this process and came out fully transformed, because they made use of the natural forces to transform the quality of oneself, not just physiologically, even spiritually. But today people are going just one quick dip and out. That's a different game. There may be some benefit, we don't know, but it's too brief. When I watch people, they're just in and out in 3 minutes. That is too brief to have any kind of major impact except maybe an emotional involvement. I know you can't take off, maybe right now make up your mind in 48 days, but if you are planning your Kumbh trip, at least plan minimum 3 to 7 days, so that you are there, do some sadhana and benefit from that process, rather than make a ritual out of it. It is not a ritual, it's a scientific process. It's just that science has been lost and practice has been carried on. That's all that's happened. It's time to put back the science, because only then we will benefit. It's time we approach these things with little more understanding and meaning to it, so that one can really benefit rather than simply making a ritual out of it. For those of you who are thinking, what has it got to do with me? Because I live in an air-conditioned home. Well, to put it in a very fundamental way, if our mothers' bodies were not in sync with the cycles of the moon, we wouldn't be born. Yes, we wouldn't be born. So the cycles of the moon and the sun has a profound impact in the way we are. Acknowledging this, celebrating this, and finding ways to go beyond this is what Kumbh is what yoga is in many ways, to break the cycles of life. When I say cycles, anything that's cyclical is bound to be repetitive. If something is repetitive, that means it's not getting anywhere. This most people realize when they're close to their deathbed, that when they look back and see what looked like great things when they were doing it, when they look back and see, it doesn't mean a thing. Those who look back and see are those who die and regret. But if you look ahead and see what you may do tomorrow, what you are very passionately waiting to do tomorrow, actually doesn't mean a thing, then you would look at life much more profoundly. The problem is not passion, the problem is not involvement, the problem is entanglement. The nature of entanglement is always cyclical. So these cycles are determining everything about the human being. If you're living in a physically, mentally very healthy state, your system will go through 12.25-year cycles. Just for example, if it falls to a 6-year cycle, that means you may still be successful in the world, but you will not know any peace or joy in your life, you're always… If it falls to 3-year cycles, you will have a hard time with the world around you and yourself. If you fall into 18-month cycles, you're on antidepressants. If you fall into 9 months, 3 months, 6-month cycles, you're in serious conditions of mental and physiological struggles. Now, the Kumbh comes from this understanding that you're trying to regularize your cycle to a 12-year cycle. If you carefully observe your life, the psychological situations, emotional situations, and also life situations, you will see a certain pattern to the cycles. If you look, you don't have to share this with anybody, this is not a confession. If you sit down and write down different things that have happened in your life, you will see a certain pattern. If it is falling into a 12-year cycle, you're in a reasonably good place. Health and being peaceful is not an issue. Now it's time to work for freedom. Time to work for mukti, that's what it means